Hello everyone. I'd like to talk to you today about, on the Productivity Power page, I'd like to talk to you about a productivity tool that is so often overlooked and it's so easy. It's so natural. So, the productivity tool I'm talking about is brainstorming. So before you scroll on, one moment. So what I find is that often people get stuck on their projects, no matter what the project is, whether it's planning a party, whether it's renovating your home, whether it's doing a project at work, whether it's writing a book, whether it's packing, whatever it is, we often get stuck. And we get stuck because we tend to want to go straight to organization. And our brain just doesn't like it. So I want to talk to you today about brainstorming, and in particular, a method that I use all the time, mind mapping, because many of you have asked me when I mention it, how do you do that? So I'm going to show you how I do it, my unfancy method for mind mapping. So back to brainstorming, which mind mapping is a method for. So a lot of times I see people struggle at the front end of projects because they want to go right to the outline. You're going to write the book report and you're going to start with the introduction and create your outline. And this puts the brain through a little bit of a struggle because you're skipping over a key step that the brain naturally likes to do, and that is generating ideas. Your brain is an idea machine. It has built into it all these associations and ideas that we want to tap when we're trying to figure out how to do things, right? So, or design something. So what we instead do is we skip over that idea generation and we go straight to organization, straight to our outline. And this is why oftentimes people procrastinate. They don't get going on their projects. So I want to talk to you about mind mapping in particular, because I think it's the easiest, fastest way to generate a lot of ideas really quickly. So when I talk about brainstorming, I'm not talking about a 5-hour technique. I'm not even talking about a 20-minute technique. I'm talking about 5-minute technique, 1-minute technique, 10-minute technique. So, and I do this with literally everything, including the Facebook Lives. Here's my mind map. So the reason mind mapping in particular as a brainstorming tool is especially useful is because it works a bit like the mind works in an associative way. So you'll see this when I show you exactly how I do it. Now there are fancy ways to mind map, really fancy, where you use imagery and a lot of artistry, and you can take courses on mind mapping, so you can go deep into the world of mind mapping. I don't. I do it really simply, as simple as it gets, as unfancy as you possibly can get. Bare bones, okay? So I'm going to show you how I do it. Very simple. In the middle of a piece of paper, I ask a question. What should I say on my Facebook Live about brainstorming? Whatever it is. What do I need to do to arrange my vacation? What do I need to do to plan for my wedding? What do I need to do to write a book? What do I need to do for this project? Or what needs to be done for this project? So in the middle is your question. And then you or it could be a topic, because you know it's a question. So this is Brainstorm Facebook Live in a circle. And then I just start having ideas. Well, what's the challenge that it addresses? Oh, why don't we do it? We go straight to organization. And then I get this idea. Oh yeah, this is how we get stuck. So then I talk about the brain here, that we're an idea generating machine. And then these branches, so these different branches, you just keep branching out in an associative way. This is how it maps so well with how we actually think. Because as you've probably noticed, one thing leads to another in your brain. So you have one thought, then you have another thought, then you have another thought. And in this way, you can build a visual of all the ideas that are bubbling up. And you don't censor any of it, just whatever ideas come. And one of the beautiful things I've seen about using mind mapping is because it's so visual and spatial, you can start to make new connections as you just do this. And again, it's stream of consciousness. You're just writing things that come to mind. You're not applying organization yet. It's from this that then you can craft organization. So when do I use mind mapping? I use it for any project, when I design any workshop, when I'm just in the process of designing a retreat for a client. I am using mind mapping to get, I've talked with them. I have a lot of input. So now I'm just going to generate lots of ideas about what could be included in the retreat. You can use it for, as I said, I use it for the Facebook Lives. If you're going on vacation, as I said, you can use it literally for anything. And the best thing it's great at is when you are procrastinating. So if you're procrastinating, and oftentimes we're procrastinating on big projects that we can't get our arms around, one of the best first steps that you can do is get out a sheet of paper and brainstorm, mind map. What do I need to do for this project? What possible things might I need to do for this project? What do I need to consider for this project? How can I get going? You can even use it for mindset practices. So let's say you're struggling with something that happened and you're having a very negative mindset about it. You could put in the center of your little circle, how could I think about this differently? And just brainstorm, just mind map. So once you do this, once you generate lots of ideas, you'll find that organizing and structure becomes so much easier. You'll see it's really the natural flow of the brain. Generate a lot of ideas to solve a problem as a solution, generate a lot of ideas, and then from those ideas, sort of like your idea buffet, you then can start to see structure in ways you might not have come up with, and most likely wouldn't have if you just went straight to organization. So that's my tip for today, is brainstorm a little bit. So brainstorm, use mind mapping as a technique. You can also use it for note-taking. I use it all the time for note-taking. So when I'm on a coaching call, that person's name will be in here. And if I take notes, I might just make them in these little branches, because different points come out in each of the different topics. And it's an easy way when I look at it to remember to capture the information. It's great if you're listening to a lecture or you're taking a course. It's also a great tool for that. Mind mapping is. So that's a little bit different than just brainstorming. But mind mapping works great for brainstorming. I really recommend you look at ways to incorporate brainstorming. Oh, one other way. If you're getting stuck on your goals for 2020, and I've actually talked to some of you who are, start with brainstorming and use a mind map. Start with brainstorming. What are all the possible things that I would like to achieve this year? You're not committing yet. You're just coming up with all sorts of ideas. From there, it's much easier to make a selection. Now, if you don't enjoy mind mapping, you can just use lists. You can just write your brainstorm in lists, stream of consciousness lists. So again, it's really important when you're brainstorming not to censor yourself, because sometimes those things that seem unrelated or odd end up being a key to a new way of putting together the information, to designing a project, to figuring out a solution. So that's our tip for today. Please brainstorm. And I'd love to hear what, if you regularly do brainstorming, I'd love to hear what you use it for. And if any of you are mind mappers, love to hear it. If you try it out, let me know. And so brainstorm. Don't go straight to organization. It'll save you time. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, rest of your Thursday, and I will see you here next Tuesday.